The reason babies kick in the womb? Because they're ready to train. Hi everyone, welcome back to another Scotty Karate video. Today, we're going to be talking about when is the perfect time to start training. So I know this is a question that might have a niche market, but the reality is there is, in my opinion, a great time to start training. Now, there are schools that start very young, less than 5 years old. To me, that's too early. At that point, the karate instructor is just a babysitter. They're just babysitting your kid while they do some, fun exercises and a gi. So, when is a good time? Well, here's a problem. If you're talking about young adults, kids, there is a good time and a bad time to start. So, for example, if you start them young, very young, say 5 or 6, they're going to most likely keep their flexibility and they're going to learn a healthy lifestyle because they're going to be active and it's going to be part of their everyday or weekly life. So there is an argument that kids should start very young, like 5 or 6, which I don't disagree. I mean, that's always great. But there is a time when it gets a little bit too late. So, for example, let's say you're 16 and you're thinking about joining a dojo and starting to train. Now, I would never say don't start training because any training is better than no training, right? I'd rather you train for 2 years at a good school and, get halfway through the ranks, let's say, than not train at all. But with that being said, here's what happens. Let's say you're 16, you decide to start taking karate, for example. You go, you find a dojo, you start going to it, you enjoy it, you turn 18, you graduate high school. Well, now what? Well, now you're moving to college. Even if you stay local, your schedule, especially if you're working, is going to be just filled. There realistically won't be time for karate. At least not enough to worry about, not enough to rank up. So what does that mean? Well, it means that you're probably going to be stagnant or you're going to stop entirely. And it happens a lot where you'll see kids, they'll start 16, 17 years old. As soon as they hit college age, they leave, right? Especially if they leave state or leave area to go to college. So if that's the case, then they're 100% leaving that dojo. Now, you might start a new dojo in your new area, but the reality is the credit, as it were, from your original dojo that you started when you were 16 kind of goes away. Now, the skill doesn't. That's why I say some training's better than no training. But it is detrimental if you're wanting to get your black belt. So what happens is usually kids, like I said, they'll get to green belt, somewhere in the middle, whatever your rank is in the middle. And then something like this will happen. They'll move to college, they'll go off, and then they always have it in their head. They're always like, oh yeah, I'm going to keep training, or I'm going to come back as soon as I'm done with college, or, on my 3 months off, I'm going to be in the dojo every day, and you never see them again. And if you do, it's in passing. It's not, they are coming to train. So they never get their black belt. They never finish, as it were. And I say finish lightly because you don't finish, but, you don't reach your goal of getting a black belt. So, when is the perfect time? 12. Okay. Don't know why I've held up 2. 12. But I say 12 to 14, really. And this is why. If you're, say, a 14-year-old and you start training, the average karate school, give or take, because all of them are different, mind you, will take 3 to 4 years to get your black belt. Now, if you start at 14, by the time you're 18, you become an adult. You'll be usually in an adult class. You'll be sparring. You'll be training with adults. You'll get that experience. Then you get your black belt. Then you get the fact that you made your goal. Then you go off to college and you're a black belt. You've already got your black belt. You've already got your first dan. You go on. Now, you still stopped because you went to college, so on, but you at least achieved your goal and got some good training in. Now, when you go to another school, depending on the school, they'll let you keep your black belt. They might allow you to retain a black belt status at their school. You just have to learn their criteria, their katas, whatever. Some don't, but almost no one lets you come in as a green belt. I mean, if you're just in the middle ranks or maybe even brown belt, because some places let brown belts happen, but real talk, you're going to have to start over. So you need to get your black belt. Now, this is not to discourage you. If you're 16 or above and you want to start. The worst thing you can do is not start. I always laugh and I'm like, don't wait until it's perfect. Do it now. Right? I'd much rather you start when you're out of shape, unsure of yourself, unconfident, maybe overweight. Just start. I'd much rather you start and gain all those things than think you have to gain all those things and then start. Because reality is you're not going to need it. And most dojos, especially if they're worth anything, will help you get any goal you need to get. Just start. But for today's video, when is the perfect time? In my opinion, 12 to 14. Now, my next reason for that isn't necessarily just because you will become a black belt before you end, or before you go to college, which is a big one, mind you, but at 12 to 14, you're old enough to start understanding that this stuff has consequences. So if you're a 7-year-old and I teach you how to break someone's arm, you haven't developed, right? I mean, it's just scientifically, you haven't got to the point yet where you don't understand that that can severely injure someone for life. Not just it ends the fight, as it were, but you can cripple them for life. For what? At 7 years old? What could have possibly have been done to warrant crippling somebody for life? So you don't understand the consequences until you get a little older. Like I said, around 12 to 14, you start to really connect. And by the time you learn anything real, like most dojos hold off real dangerous techniques to your brown belt or black belt anyway, you'll be an adult or close to an adult. You'll have enough forethought to understand the consequences, so you don't have to worry about this. You'll grow into it. And that's a major part. The next one, and this is the most important. If you've ever trained kids or you've ever taught a kids class or seen a kid, like you take your kids to a kids class, look around. Are they actually training? Or are they just going through the motions? And this is the next one, is the commitment. Most kids that start, I won't say most, a lot of kids that start because their parents put them into it. It's not their passion. It's not something that they want to do per se. It's just something that their parents wanted them to do, so they put them in class, right? Well, because of that, they don't take it seriously. They're not super dedicated. They aren't like, oh, I have to get to the dojo. I have to train. There's this new kata I need to learn. Oh, we're going to be doing some weapon work tonight, and I don't want to miss that. That's usually not their mindset. Their mindset's, oh, I have to go kick and punch for a while. Okay. Well, that's not the right mentality to learn. 12 to 14, they start coming into their own. And if you're 12 or 14 years old, or if you are, and you want to do karate, that's a good sign, because that means you want to do it. And then that will make it last, right? You'll understand what you're doing, and it'll be your passion and your desire and your hobby, not something that's thrust upon you. So you will take it seriously, or more seriously. So when an instructor shows you some or teaches you some and says, hey, this is to, get their hand off you if they grab you, you don't go, okay. You go, oh, so that's how you get their hand off if they grab you to punch you. Oh. So these are all the reasons I find it important for kids to start a little bit later. I'm not opposed to young kids starting, because they do have benefits to that. But if you're going to start and you haven't already, 12 to 14 is a good time period. Now, if you're past that, no excuses, start. All right. Hope you liked today's video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell in the corner so you know when my videos are posted each week. And as always, the more you train, easier the fight.